who is on upset watch. Last week, if you were tuned in, we were looking in the right spots. All right, Missouri, they were on upset watch on this segment last week. Vanderbilt took them to OT and woulda, shoulda, coulda got it done. JMU, they were also on the upset watch, forecast, if you will. When they played North Carolina, they thwacked North Carolina. They scored 70 on North Carolina. It was unbelievable. So all that's to say is we're got a hot hand right now, all right? That basket is looking pretty wide open for your boy from deep, all right? College football sickos, make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel. College football, nothing but college football, the way that you want it discussed. It is scientifically proven from any well-respected scientist, researcher, whoever, that Friday night football, weird things happen. You saw Syracuse get upset last Friday night. You saw Nebraska lose a game they were favored in last Friday night. Miami is welcoming Va-Tech. So if that Friday night juice wasn't enough for you, Miami's a 19.5-point favorite now. That number just keeps on going up. Virginia Tech just sort of limping in there. What's their record? Oh, they're 2-2. Oh, don't worry about them. On a short week, they have 2 losses, both by 3 points. And Vandy, I think, is better than folks would like to give credit for. Rutgers is a lot better than folks want to give credit for. Both those losses by 3 points. I'm just saying. Miami now hasn't played anybody since Florida early on in the season. Give some credit to G5 USF, but this will be the first Power 4 opponent they've played since game 1. We're going to learn a lot about Miami here. Now, I already predicted this game. We do not think Miami loses this football game. However, that 19.5 feels a little bit steep to me. A little bit steep, especially on a Friday night with Kyron Drones and his mobile element he's going to add to the game. So keep an eye now on Miami and Va-Tech on Friday night. Minnesota goes to Ann Arbor. Michigan's favored by 9.5 in this one. But if you're going to be as one-dimensional as you were last week against USC, if you're Michigan, I think Minnesota will be better against the run. And also just the fact that you have a full game on tape now of Alex Orji, I think that's going to be an advantage for Minnesota. We know this now, man. We know PJ Fleck and the gang, they will get up for some games now. They're one of those teams, you talk about culture and juice and unquantifiable factors. Minnesota's one of those teams now, limping in after a loss to Iowa. I'm just saying. Would not be surprised in the slightest if Minnesota covered that number. Would not be surprised in the slightest if we're watching a close game in the fourth quarter between those two. All right, again, I think for Michigan, you got to find some other pitch to bring to the table here, because if all you have is the fastball, only a matter of time before somebody takes you yard. Is it row the boat University? Remains to be seen. Staying in the Big Ten, Penn State hosting Illinois. 17.5-point favorites. 17.5, and Illinois is a top 20 team in the country. Penn State's rolling right now offensively. Now, have they played anybody of worth? Not necessarily, depending on how you feel about West Virginia. Bielema ball, unbeaten right now. Coming off a big Friday night win in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I don't know if you watched that game, but Illinois went into what was supposed to be a pretty hostile environment, and what I would imagine was a hostile environment out there in Lincoln. Didn't look too bothered. I mean, they just rolled on in there, did their thing, left with the dub. That was a good game, don't get me wrong. It was competitive, but what I'm trying to say here is you go to Happy Valley. If Nebraska didn't bother you, is Penn State's environment going to bother you? Remains to be seen. Luke Altmaier, cool hand Luke. Illinois is averaging 2 takeaways a game. This is the test now if you're Penn State. Is that offense really Cold Stone Creamery special that Andy Coltonecki talks about out there in Happy Valley? Is it really going to be an improved outfit? We'll see, because Illinois plays a lot of man coverage, and we actually have a pick for you in this game during our final prediction segment of the show. So stay keyed in, stay tuned in, but I'm just saying now, that's one to watch. 17.5, it's a lot of points. It's a lot of points and a lot riding on Drew Aller and his progress and this overall offense's progress under Andy Coltonecki. Last one here, Kentucky at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has been just, an avenger. They have been the Thanos of college football thus far. Now, to be fair, they haven't really played anybody either. They have, scored over 50 in just about every single game. Jackson Dart is putting up road to glory numbers. We say that a lot on this show because it's true. Kentucky now, rolling into town, 17.5-point dogs. This is the same Kentucky team now that took Georgia to a 1-point game and had everybody the day after saying, Mark Stoops, what are you doing, baby? Why are we punting the football? I'm just saying. I find myself using that line a lot, but I am just saying, in this game, Kentucky if the improved level of competition impacts Ole Miss and the run the football kind of mentality that Kentucky's going to bring to this game, don't be surprised if it gets a little bit intriguing. You check the score at halftime, you got Kevin Nagandi on your television set saying, whoa, 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 let's go out to Oxford, Mississippi, and Kentucky hanging around trying to play spoiler. Could be one of those situations, all right? So keep a pulse on that. Would not be surprised in the slightest if things got a little bit intriguing out there in Oxford. So we got Miami and Va-Tech on Friday night, Minnesota, Michigan, Penn State, Illinois, Kentucky at Ole Miss. All some spreads that feel just a little bit too big for my liking. So we'll talk about that here a little bit later in this show. Hard Count is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. Game Time, great way to make sure you're getting to wherever you want to get to on Saturdays in the fall. I know a lot of y'all are kind of thinking like, hey, maybe I do actually want to get out to, I don't know, Auburn, Oklahoma. Or maybe I do want to get out to a game where Notre Dame's hosting Louisville. If you wake up on Saturday morning, you're like, man, where's the best way to buy tickets? What's the best, fast, easy, safe way to buy tickets? Game Time, all right? Know before you buy. See your view from your seat before you even purchase. Also, if you find a ticket in the same section and row for less than what you paid for, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code HARDCOUNT for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code HARDCOUNT. That's HARDCOUNT for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.